All right, so this is a Mahasatipatthana Sutta. It actually very long. So there are body, feeling, mind, and Dhamma. So we already go through the body, Kayanupassana, feeling, Vedananupassana, mind is Chittanupassana, and Dhamma today. All right, so Dhamma actually 5. In calculation is 21. All right, 21. Like Samatha is 40. So if you want to know how many types of meditation in Vipassana, the answer is 21, according to this sutta. Okay, now just now the text, we go through the text again. All right. So the text here is same like you will see the word Dhammesu Dhammanupassi. All right. Dhamma Anupassi is contemplation. Contemplate the Dhamma in the Dhamma. Right. So here. So contemplate the Dhamma objects as the Dhamma. So you find this is peculiar in the Pali. It's keep on repeating. Why is it the Dhamma object as the Dhamma? So there's few reasons. The reason is you don't confuse it with the body, with the feeling, or with the mind. Because this is Dhamma. You just contemplate it as Dhamma, not the body. So it's not a feeling here. It's not the mind here. It's much more on the mental things. That's why object here. So another explanation is Dhamma, you contemplate as Dhamma, object not as mine or somebody else or belong to any soul or whatever. So it just means that see it as it really is. So the 5th one is the Nivarana, 5 hindrances. So you got the first one, sensual desire. All right. So the text below is quite similar. So first, when sensual desire pleasant, you should know. When it disappear, you also should know. Okay. When it will come again, you also know. When it has not arisen, it will come again, you should know. All right. But when you eradicate it, means it disappear, you should know. And why is it no longer appear? No longer appear means somebody reached the stage of enlightenment, should be anagami. Because at that time they have a sensual desire. Yeah, it should be anagami. Yeah. Okay. So one of the higher enlightenment. So at that time, then there will be no more discounting. All right. So means that you should know the cause and reason why it appear and disappear. So there are a few method of noting. I will mention later. So this is the first one. And the second one is evil. The text is same. Evil appear, you should know. The third one is sloth and torpor. All right. And then the fourth one is restless and remorse and doubt. Okay. So we can just make a conclusion. So 5 hindrances, the first one is sensual desire. Second one is evil, or sometimes we can use the word hatred also. So third one is sloth and torpor. Sloth and torpor is kind of like we call it lazy mind. Restless and worry. Okay. Now, okay. Okay, now. So now we can see the sensual desire and evil is very different. Sensual desire is you like something, especially to do with sense desire. So liking for good sight, good sound, good smell, good taste. So it happen every day. Every time you see a food you like, you see a clothes you like, you see flower, or you see a person you like. So when you see your sons and daughter or your somebody you like, the sensual desire is there. So it's like we call it one thing. All right. So in fact, it's called like the mind wants something. Okay, the mind likes something or desire. Now, evil is different. Evil is dislike it or don't want it. So it's opposite mode. The first one is you like it, you love it, you want it. So you can see it's like your mind reach out to the object. Your mind want to grasp the object. So that's the nature. Your mind want to grasp the object. Your mind love it. So evil hatred is the other way. Your mind dislike it. So dislike it to the point that even somebody will destroy it. So recently I read a lot of in the social media, like the mother stopped the children playing with the handphone. Then what happened in America? Then the child, I think about maybe near to 10 years old, he got so angry with the mother. You know what happened? He used a bat, beat the mother until the mother fainted to got the brain damage. But he didn't call the police or didn't call ambulance. What he do is that after that he continued to play with the handphone and leave the mother like that for 3 hours, 4 hours until the father come back. But it's too late to take care of the mother to send to hospital. You know, so it's like the mind is strong on the sensual desire. Yeah. And when he cannot get it because the mother take away his handphone, he gets so angry that he would want to destroy the mother. So that's the nature of the mind. Sometimes you like something, then the one moment the mind don't like it. So all these are considered even in a normal life. It's really, when we say the hindrances, okay, hindrances means the definition hindrances uh is block, okay? Block the progress. Now, in terms of meditation, it's block the progress of meditation. So another way is block the path to heaven. Okay, so that's the two definition. All right. So 五盖就是讲主要阻碍禅修进展或阻碍去天界的老。So so if the mind is too much on sensual desire, this means that you notice that your mind cannot meditate well because it goes out all the time. Or if somebody scold you or mosquito bite you or whatever, your mind also cannot stay in meditation. You also want to run away. So this is a different order. Now, softly torpor means the mind is lazy. Okay, the mind is lazy. So we call it inactive mind. So you find it when you sit down and your mind goes sleepy, right? Actually, most of the time we don't need so much sleep one because we are not doing any hard labor. But the mind is lazy, not interested in meditation. This is we call it the mind is getting more dull and dull. But the next one is opposite. Its opposite means the mind become too active. Too active means it is it sometimes it worry about this and that. It's not staying on the object. And last one you have doubts. Doubts one means uh doubts on there are many types of doubts, okay? So sometimes you got doubts on yourself. Ourselves. Sometimes you got doubts on teacher. Sometimes you got doubts on Dharma. Sometimes you got doubts on triple gem. So all these are we call it so this doubt is much more on the spiritual doubts, right? So any of them when they come out in meditation, it will block you. All right. So how to deal with them? So the best way is we call it direct approach, where you practice vipassana, means you contemplate it. Contemplate means you take this one as object. So you take hindrance as object. So this is a direct contemplation. You literally you see it. For example, like you get angry. So but you don't cling to the anger as I am my. So you see the anger, then you note it, you contemplate it until it disappear. So this is a direct approach. You really see it and contemplate it. All right. So this direct. And like evil, when you are feeling angry, you contemplate anger. Or when you feel sleepy or restless, you take it as object, contemplate anger, restless, doubts. Sometimes even you had doubts on your teacher, doubts on yourself, you contemplate it. So this is the first approach. Now, indirect approach is using the antidote. Antidote means the different nature. For example, when you have sensual desire, uh, this means that your mind cannot focus on one object. You can practice one pointedness, you focus, instead of let the mind go to object, you focus back on your object. Or you can practice impurity. You say, oh, this person, what's so lovely about this person? He also made of 32 body parts. He also got feces and urine and so on. Okay. So it's like change the mind. So we call it indirect way. And then like antidote for hatred is loving kindness or joy. So joy is good mind. So hatred is bad mind. So loving kindness is like water, and then evil is hatred. So it's opposite. Now, sometimes sloth and torpor happen when you're doing meditation. Your mind feels so bored. So at that time, you can do chanting. If you are alone, you can chant out. If you are not alone, you can chant quietly. Or you feel so sleepy, you go. Okay, the best way you go outside and walk, but your mind is very dull. So instead of just walking, you walk and chant. Okay, you walk and chant ETB, so Bhagawan. You walk and chant, because walking make your mind more alert. Right. So you can even do like we call it walking. All right. There are many ways. Like just now you say 7 methods of why walking or see the light, or rub the face or wash the face or whatever. There are many methods. Okay. All right. So whatever methods, as long as you can solve the problem. Okay, now restless and worry is one thing you can do is learn to let go. So letting go is we call worry attitude. Like a lot of things we cannot let go. So if you can change your attitude, you see impermanence, you let go about things or craving or whatever, or your mind find more happiness in your meditation, then you can overcome restless and worry. Lastly will be doubts. So the best way, of course, if you can tackle the doubts as direct vipassana. If cannot, you need to find the method. If you have doubts about Dhamma, try to analyze the Dhamma until you really understand what is Dhamma. For example, you had doubts about the Namarupa mind matter, so you go deeper mind and better. It then solve problem. Or we call it sustained application, means that keep the mind on the object long enough. So don't let it float away. When you cannot keep the mind on the object, like when you not the breathing, so when your mind run away all the time, so you must keep back here. So you will in this way it will settling the mind down. Okay, so you will know. Okay, so far I think this is a chant about the on the chanting here. So it's actually is this Pali is actually repeated for these 5 hindrances. And the last one will be same. Okay. So is contemplate the Dhamma as internal. So this means that if you got the hatred or however, you have to contemplate your hatred as internal. When you contemplate the hatred of others, also there's external, or internal or external. So he knows how they arise, how they disappear. So he know how they arise and disappear. So the mindfulness shall be extended. That's the Dhamma. Then for the necessary of knowledge and mindfulness. So he abide independently, not cling to anything in the world. All right. Now, what is the meaning of Dara Dhamma? Okay, Dara Dhamma is same. You contemplate as 5 hindrances as it is. It's just a evil. It's just a hatred. It's just a sloth and torpor. Don't cling it as my evil, my hatred, my desire, and so on. Okay, so that's the meaning here. All right, I think that's enough. Because I prefer this to be more on meditation, so you all can practice and contemplate your 5 hindrances. Now, how are you going to contemplate the 5 hindrances? So, like what we say, if you focus on breathing or abdomen rising, falling, when it runs away, you just take it as object, contemplate it. Why is it? Is it sloth torpor or evil or restless or whatever? Okay, just contemplate. Then you see what happened to the mind. Will your mind become more peaceful or become more restless? If become more restless, you just contemplate it until it disappear. So make sure it disappear. Then you go back to the breathing again. Okay, right. So that's how we should practice. OK，现在要禅修了哈，所以你们就是可以把这些当成现象，如此的关照哈。 如果它出现，你们要知道它出现。